on Fox Business, and Jeremy Hunt, Veterans on Duty Chairman and former Army Intelligence Captain. Thank you for your service, Jeremy. Well, we begin with a look at what some are calling the Trump effect. Yeah, it's already happening. It appears to be unfolding in the wake of his landslide victory and just 6 days out. Well, within 72 hours, that short little window of becoming president-elect, look at all that's happened. Trump appointed the first female White House chief of staff in U.S. history, the Party of Women. And here's a live look at the Dow as it hits a new record high, along with the NASDAQ and the S&P 500. That's right, economic gains. And then the latest migrant caravan that was heading towards our border shrunk by half. Reuters is specifically citing Trump as the reason many of these migrants turned around. New York City announced it would stop giving free debit cards to migrants. That happened too. And yet, looking abroad, Hamas says it wants an immediate end to its war with Israel. How about that for timing? And Trump has already spoken to Ukrainian President Zelensky, and Russia says it's ready to talk with the president-elect about the war. The European Union, meanwhile, is considering replacing Russian oil with oil exported from right here in the USA. And listen to this, the Taliban wants to start a, quote, new chapter with the U.S. Maybe they remember when Trump called their leader, sent him a satellite picture of his home, and said, I will annihilate you unless you protect American troops abroad. Maybe they remember that. And even China announced its hopes for a peaceful coexistence with the U.S. So much for invading Taiwan. I thought that was coming. All that in 72 hours, and Trump will still be president-elect for another 70 days. Look, Harris, it really is remarkable what not even being president will do. Reuters said this, and this is a Wire publication. A caravan of thousands of migrants traveling through Mexico with the hopes of reaching the U.S. had shrunk to about half its original size as many migrants grapple with their prospects following Trump's victory.
Well, considering that so many of them have to go through Mexico, I think Mexico is doing some grappling with tariffs. Yeah. I mean, that's what this president has done before, and that's what he's willing to do again, and that's to put pressure on Mexico. So I think there are a lot of people rethinking south of the border right now. I mean, if you're a caravan and you're driven by all the things that the cartels, all the lies that the cartels are telling you, now America has sent the message that, yeah, believe our votes before you believe the cartel. I do want to just read right now Bloomberg's one of their headlines. With Trump win boosting stocks, investors are hunting for next winners. I don't know if you caught, Cheryl Casoni was like cheering over there in terms of what what Wall and Broad are doing right now on Wall Street. Because there is this effect that you were talking about on people thinking, okay, prosperity for America, we could see it.
No doubt about it. Look, Tom Homan, of course, is now the new border czar. Remember, that's the title that Kamala said, I don't want to be border czar. Well, Tom Homan will be it. And here's what Tom Homan said on 60 Minutes.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
I mean, talk about a mic drop, Carly Shimkus. And what price do you put on the heads of American women like Jocelyn Nungari and Rachel Morin, whose names we have covered on this show?
No doubt. And, you know, there's no administration is perfect, right? And there will be unforeseen challenges over the next 4 years. But I think that the thing that Donald Trump said on the campaign trail that probably resonated with undecided voters the most is that the Republican Party is the party of common sense. You bring up female voters. I think that Wall Street Journal called it the sleeper issue of 2024, transgender women in women's sports. That was a big one when it comes to common sense. Also, the border issue. I just think back to how the Biden administration started with DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas. One of the first things that he says is that you can't deport an illegal immigrant just for being here illegally. You have to have either committed a crime or be suspected of terrorism. So that's not common sense, that's politics, and it clearly backfired. Also, issues of safety that repeatedly came up when it comes to Jocelyn Nungari or other women who unfortunately lost their lives due to the border issue. All of those things resonate, and you hear Tom Homan say, who's now the border czar, and leaning into that role, saying you can't put a price on safety. So yeah, that's really important. And these people, I think that the fact that this caravan has already been cut down in half. It's like a campaign ad that Donald Trump doesn't even need. He might even have to do a rally, even though he's not doing any more of them, just to tell people that that's the case.
Jeremy, one of my favorite hobbies is watching left-wing hosts flabbergasted when they learn facts. Truth bombs blow up their storyline. So let's watch Caitlin Collins as she's stunned by what Chad Wolf tells her.
Are you saying that there are violent criminals who are just around and that they are not being deported knowingly, even though ICE knows that they are here in this country?
Well, that's exactly what I'm saying. I think if you look at the enforcement priorities of the Biden administration under DHS at this time, you have to be a serious felon to be removed from the country and have that be a priority. Not just a felon, but a serious felon. And so I personally disagree with that. I think if you're any felon, you should probably be removed. Again, you're here illegally, you commit a felony, you've been convicted of it, you should be removed again. And so there are certain things that you need to look at, and it's not just as easy as saying, well, all criminals are being removed, because we know they're not. Their own data says that that's not the case.
I mean, did she miss the police officers attacked in Times Square, the young girl that was raped in Central Park? Did she just miss all that?
I mean, they choose not to see it. I mean, I think that's part of the story, is that they don't even hardly report on some of these things that we've been talking about for a long time. But I think what we're seeing now, it's only been, a week since the election, and I think our enemies across the globe are taking note. I mean, the 4-year honeymoon period is over. This 4-year period under the Biden-Harris administration of this, enabling them, appeasing them, it's over. And I think that now we're seeing even President Xi, releasing a statement of China, President Putin calling President Trump already. I mean, we're seeing a lot. Qatar has now kicked out Hamas out of their country, which was good. I mean, we're seeing now the results of what happens when you have strength back in the White House. And he's not even back in the White House yet, which is the best part of it all, is that already the world is responding. And I think the eyes of the world are on the United States right now. I mean, it is, and this is how it should be, American leadership. I mean, America, we set the tone for the rest of the world. They don't set the tone for us. And I think that's what we're seeing already with President Trump's election this last week.
Cheryl, I wanted to save this for you. I mean, it is amazing. Peace through strength is something that adversaries remember, to your point, Jeremy. I mean, she clearly remembers it as he's toning down his rhetoric. The Taliban remembers it. They're toning down their rhetoric. And then you have the EU, U.S. oil purchases potentially. Economically, this is a huge boom.
It's going to be a job creator in this country. We're talking tens of thousands of jobs that could be created in the energy patch in this nation, good, high-paying jobs. One of the things that Biden did that really hurt our domestic energy production was he restricted LNG exports. That hurt Europe. Where did they have to turn? They had to turn to Russia. They don't have to do that now. They can come back and they can look to us to help them out, and that will be good for us. I mean, it's Pennsylvania and other parts of the country. What happens with Keystone? The Keystone Pipeline, guys. Are we going to go back to that? We could. Are we going to go back to more fracking, more drilling on our land? Yes. As for the markets, and that's why I was doing a little happy dance with Harris earlier, is because you're going to have any gains today for any of the NASDAQ, the Dow, the S&P is another record. And the dollar is strong today.
Yeah.
That's the world telling you that they believe that the dollar is the currency of the world, and everybody else that's been yapping their lips about, we're going to use other denominations, you can all just sit down now because that trade is over.
Yeah.
Well, this all happened in 6 days. I wonder what the next 6 days will hold in the next 4 years. Wow. Aren't we in for a treat?
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kayleigh McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.